Iced vanilla latte, please. It's just gonna be a great day. Good morning, YouTube. It is the first day of school. It is my 5th year of teaching, 4th grade in Maryland. I'm teaching math and science this year. I'll talk about that later. But currently I feel a little bit like Nemo on the first day of school. And honestly, in years past, I've always been very excited, but also very nervous. And I think this is the first year where I'm solely nervous. I had no trouble falling asleep last night. Like, honestly, I'm just pumped and excited to meet my students and start forming relationships with them and just making it a fantastic year. It is currently a little bit after 7, so I'm leaving slightly earlier than I usually do. I do have a couple of last minute things to do this morning, and then I have to meet with my team teacher. So I'm gonna go ahead and head to school, and then I'll catch up with you all there. Let's talk about all of the stuff that I brought into school this morning with me, because I feel like that's half of teaching, just carrying stuff back and forth between home and school. First of all, I had to print out supply labels over the weekend. So we label all of our students' notebooks and folders, and we color code them. So we have red for math, blue for science and social studies, green for reading, yellow for writing. Our morning work journals are just regular composition books. And then we also have a Wednesday folder and a communication folder. And then we label still working and finished on the writing folder, and keep it home and return to school on the communication folder. So I volunteered to make all of the labels for the entire 4th grade. So it was like 200 something pages of labels that I had to print. So all of this are labels, and it was a lot. But I have HP Instant Ink, and if you're not using HP Instant Ink, what are you doing? You need to use it. I get 500 pages a month that I print that can be full color or black and white for $15 a month. So I have a link in the description if you want to sign up and get a month free. So these are all ready to go when we meet as a team this morning. I will hand them out to each of my team teachers, so we have them ready today. Which, tip, because we've done this in the past, and we used to make little baggies of all of their labels. This year, we have all of their notebook labels on one half sheet, and then all of their folder labels on a full sheet. And we're gonna do them like all the notebooks at one time and then all the folders, because in years past, our students would always mix up their notebook and folder labels and they would end up on the wrong one. So I think hopefully this will make it a little bit more organized. Then I have some little treats for my team teachers. I always like to give a little gift on like the first day of school or back to school time. So this year, first I got these stickers. I wanted to get them each stickers that went with their theme. So my one team teacher has like an emoji theme. One of them has like a succulent theme. And then the other one, she doesn't quite have a theme, but she loves otters. So I found these stickers that were from Finding Dory, and they had otters on them. But I didn't want to give them just stickers. So I was trying to come up with some like little cute phrase. And I came up with something about like, we'll get through this year if we stick together, because they're stickers. So then I thought I would also give them each a pack of gum, because that goes with that. So I'm just going to quickly, like, I think I'm just going to stick a Post-it note on it, to be honest. Then I have my whiteboard erasers, really kids, but these are from last year. These come from the dollar store. You can get 3 of them for $1, and I use them for whiteboard erasers. I went ahead and washed my ones from last year because I wanted to have extras, plus I'm color coding my supplies, and I could not find any purple ones this year, so I'm gonna have to reuse my purple ones from last year. Then I have first day of 4th grade letters. So we write a letter to all of our students, and then they write a letter back to us as their morning work. Now, this is the same template as my Meet the Teacher letter, so if you own that packet, you can use the letter templates for different things. I use the exact same format, and then I just typed out my letter here, and I added my little Bitmoji at the bottom. So I have made copies, and I need to put those out on their desks along with lined paper. I mentioned in one of my last vlogs about how we were just told that we have to use county provided schedule cards. I went ahead and laminated them this weekend, so I need to put magnets on the back. You know what? I was kind of upset at first because I do really love my schedule cards. These are in my TPT store. I spent hours and hours and hours creating them. However, it's really not the end of the world, and honestly, these could look a lot worse. Like, usually no offense, but when things are provided by the district, they're usually not the prettiest thing. These actually, I think, look pretty good. So I'm just not even gonna worry about it and just go ahead and put them up and not make a big deal. These are some more magnetic letters that I got over the weekend. I went ahead and punched them out, so I'm gonna organize those. And then these are some other labels, of course, for additional things. These are the highlight your name papers. So every year we have our students highlight their names according to their homeroom, and then it makes it easier to organize their papers. So I have both a 4x6 version and a big version, so I offered to make these for the team. So I just asked each of my team teachers if they wanted a small or big one and went ahead and laminated them. I have gotten myself together at least as much as I can, and I've done the things that I have to do, and yes, I still have things on my list that I need to do, little labels and stuff, but right now that just doesn't matter, and I'm not gonna sit here and get stressed out about it. I would rather sit, kind of relax. I'm reading over some student information, I'm going through my PowerPoint for today, and I'm just trying to get excited to meet my kids. I mean, I'm already excited, so I'm trying to just not focus on the things that don't matter and focus on the things that do matter, and right now that's my students. I have about 20 minutes-ish until they come in, so I'm just kind of relaxing, and then the next time I will catch up with you will be when I take my students to cultural arts. I wanted to go ahead and show you all my PowerPoint for today. Now these slides are not in my TPT store yet. They're on my list. I just have a bunch of other things going on, but this is a slide that was showing when my students came in. So I gave them directions of everything they needed to do, and their morning work was to write a letter back to me. Then I went over any things that they needed to turn in, and then I went over our cultural arts schedule of what we have each day of the week, and then I quickly went over hallway expectations. I always like to say a 4S line, which stands for straight, still, silent, and smiling, just because it's very easy to remember. And then I took them to music. So when they come back, we're going to have a little bit more time to work on our letter, and then I'm going to collect them. Then we're going to go over hand signals that we use for bathroom water and pencil, talk about what we need to do if we're leaving the room, go over some quiet signs, emergency procedures because we are having a fire drill today, a little bit about class jobs. We're gonna go through our supplies and put stuff in our pencil pouches, and then label our notebooks and label our folders. And I showed you those labels earlier. Then we're gonna do 2 truths and a lie. So they're each gonna get an index card. They're gonna write down 2 true statements and 1 that is a lie. And then lunch expectations, recess expectations, go to lunch and recess, come back. We're gonna talk about Cup Kudos, which is our behavior incentive system, talk about behavior expectations, talk about desks, because our students use the desks, but they're not really theirs to keep their stuff in, like when they're not in the room. Homework and agenda book, go over some different parts of our classroom and how to use them. We're gonna do this find somebody who activity, so they have to find someone to initial for each of these spots. Then we have these truth lessons and code of conduct lessons. Those are provided like by our school or district, and we have to do them, and they're not very fun, but that's okay. We're gonna get through it. Then we're gonna do this first day of school activity. So this is from Miss Fifth. There are these different cards that spell out first day of school, and each one has a different question. So I'm gonna put these around the room. The students are gonna go around and they're gonna respond to each of the questions on the recording sheet. I do really like the questions that are on here. You just get a lot of good information about how they're feeling, their favorite subjects, what questions they have, what they're excited about, things like that. So I will link that activity in the description box if you are interested. Then we're gonna go ahead and do the code of conduct lessons. Like I said, we have to do those. Then we're gonna talk about dear time, arrival and dismissal procedures, and then that brings us to the second day. That kind of goes over the first day. I mean, honestly, it's a lot of me talking, and I tried to kind of break it up with little fun activities here and there, but this one and the 2 truths and a lie are the main like activities we are doing. I'm gonna send this home with students, and this goes with the like code of conduct or truth lessons, and I think that's basically it. Also, I just wanted to show you, I am so in love. One of my students gave me this apple. So pretty, and then I got a necklace from another one of my students. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the necklace on now, because when students give me like jewelry or anything I can wear, I love to wear it right away. So one of the things I love about having cultural arts first thing in the morning is that I kind of get time to get myself together, but I will say on the first day of school it's very hectic. Our students arrive between 8:55 and 9:15, and then at 9:35 we have to go to cultural arts, which is music, art, PE, whatever we have that day. So it's very hectic because I'm quickly trying to like like tell my kids who they are, tell them what I expect in the hallway, and then we have to get going. So I'm honestly looking forward to picking my class up and like having that time to really go into detail about things and just spend more time with them. Overall, I feel like I have a really good group. I'm just loving like my kids, and they're excited and they get my sarcasm already, which is super important. And I don't know, it's just gonna be a great day. And just like that, first day of school is done. So I'm going to quickly kind of show you what my room looks like, and then I will talk to you about it. First of all, my desk is a hot mess right now. I try to keep it clean throughout the day and it just doesn't happen, but that's okay. The back table is where all of their supplies are, so I need to put all of that away because it's kind of overflowing. The rest of my room though looks pretty good. Their desks look good. I need to straighten them out just a little bit. I have to say my class did amazing with stacking their chairs. I like to put them in stacks of like 5 or 6, going all the way down my cabinet, so they did awesome with that. I have some water bottles left, but that's okay. Dismissal was a little bit hectic, and the rest of my room is looking pretty good. So now let me go ahead and reflect on the day. First of all, we had indoor recess because it was too hot outside. I think with the heat index, it was like over 100 degrees and we were not allowed to go outside. So we had indoor recess, but that was kind of good because I got to show my students like how the indoor recess stuff works and where I keep it and how I organize it and all that. So it all worked out. Overall, I had a great day. For me, as long as I feel like I have started to form relationships with my students, I have learned all of their names and they all make it home safely, I consider that a good first day of school. So all of my students made it home. I know all of their names. I've started to kind of form those relationships with them. They're starting to understand my crazy self as a teacher, so we're all good. I will say that there's a lot I didn't get to. That whole first day of school activity with the letters around the room, didn't get to it. The find someone who activity, did not get to it. Some of our code of conduct lessons I didn't get to, and it's just amazing how quickly the first day of school goes. But we did get our supplies all labeled and organized, so I'm gonna put that away, clean off my desk, kind of go through my slides for tomorrow. I do have some things to prep for tomorrow, and then I'm gonna get out of here and I'm gonna go home. And I did have a super sweet girl draw me this picture during indoor recess. So that is me today. That is exactly the outfit that I'm wearing. Super cute. And can we just acknowledge that I'm standing on a table? And I just think that it's so funny that they pick up on that, because I tell them, I'm like, look, this will happen all the time and you will get used to it. I stand on tables, I stand on chairs, I stand on desks. So I just thought that this was like the perfect representation of me. And I love that she picked up on that already. So tomorrow for the second day of school, we are going to do some homeroom rotations in the afternoon. Basically, the kids are going to go to each different homeroom teacher for half an hour. That way we can get to know all of the kids, kind of see their faces, get to know their names, and then they are going to be able to get to know all of the different teachers. So each of us picked a different activity to do with our students during that time. So we're going to do the same activity 4 times with each of the 4 different classes. I am doing the activity Saving Fred, which you can Google this. There's tons of different activities for it. I'm honestly not using any like recording sheet or anything. I'm gonna type the directions on just like a PowerPoint slide, but I wanted to show you this activity in case you have never heard of it, because it is literally so much fun. This is how you set up Saving Fred. I usually have my students do it in partners or small groups. I'm gonna have them do it in partners tomorrow. That way it's less students working together, which hopefully will lead to less disagreements. So here's the basic setup. There is a Lifesaver gummy, and that gets put under a little plastic cup. I am using these plastic cups from Target. They are just these mini disposable cups by Diamond. And then this is Fred. Fred is the gummy worm, and he goes on top of the cup, which is sitting on top of the Lifesaver gummy, and then they get 2 paper clips. I like to use the jumbo paper clips or the large paper clips. Since they are working in partners, each partner will get 1 paper clip. So the little storyline goes that Fred has like shipwrecked or something. I forget the exact story, but Fred is not able to touch the water, which is the table. So at all times, Fred either has to sit on this cup or he needs to be held up in the air. The ultimate goal is to get the life preserver, which is the small Lifesaver gummy, around Fred. So essentially the students have to use their paper clips. They have to lift lift up Fred, they have to flip over the cup, they have to get the gummy, they have to stretch out the gummy to get it to fit around Fred, and then they have to do this all while not letting Fred touch the ground. So it's a great activity for teamwork. It's always a lot of fun. The students always really enjoy it. I've done this with 2nd grade and 4th grade, and it worked for both grade levels. So if you have never tried this, I highly recommend you try it out. If you go on TPT, there's all kinds of like recording sheets and things for it. Because we're gonna have limited time, I'm only gonna have my group for like 25 minutes-ish. I'm just gonna have them do the actual activity, but I'm hoping that they really like it. I will check in with all of you tomorrow. I'm gonna go ahead and assemble all of these. I have to get together, I think it's 60 cups because I have 15 partners in each class because it's classes of 30s, and then I'm gonna have 4 groups, so a total of 60 cups. So honestly, to prep this, I'm just gonna take the cup, I'm gonna put Fred inside, I'm gonna put their, gummy on the inside, their paper clips, and then I will put the top on top so it is all ready to go. So all of the little Saving Fred kits are now prepped. I ran out of lids for these, so I'm gonna have to get some more lids from home tonight, but I have, I think 60 or 61 all ready to go for tomorrow, so that's one less thing that I have to do during my planning time. It is now about 6:20, and I'm ready to get out of here because I am a little bit tired, but not as tired as I used to be. You know, my first couple years of teaching, I just remember the first day being so overwhelming, and I will say it went by super fast, but I felt more like in control than I used to, and I've just learned to let go of a lot. I used to feel so uptight because I was trying to keep everything like a certain way, and then I've come to realize like it just doesn't matter. And as much as I am type A personality, I've learned to let go of a lot. So I'm gonna get out of here. I have a couple small things to do tonight, just kind of looking over my slides and making sure they are ready for tomorrow, because tomorrow night from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock is back to school night where the parents come and we give them information. So I need to make sure I have all my ducks in a row. Good morning, YouTube. I was gonna film myself walking down the stairs, but it is so humid outside. My camera is just poof right away, so sorry about that. Some of you are probably gonna comment on the fact that I'm not going to Dunkin' Donuts. I'm trying to turn over a new leaf this year, and I'm trying not to go as often. I think I'm going to limit myself to going on Fridays. Although, over the summer, I think I only got Dunkin' Donuts like maybe 2 or 3 times, so far I'm doing good. I'm trying to keep it up. Be encouraging instead of discouraging. I am going into today knowing that it's going to be a very long day. I'm currently leaving at about 7 o'clock, and I'm not gonna get home until 9:30. So I know that it's going to be exhausting. However, I'm just trying to look on the bright side, and I'm excited to be able to meet some more of my students' families, the ones that did not come to meet the teacher, and getting to answer their questions and all that good stuff. But I'm gonna be gracious to myself tonight, and I'm gonna make sure that when I get home I don't have to do anything, because that would not be fun. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to school. I do have a staff meeting this morning, so I will probably catch up with you all during my planning time. So in my opinion, the absolute best start to the second day of school is a student bringing you an apple. I don't care if it's a cliche, I will never not be happy to receive an apple from my students. So believe it or not, it is like 8 o'clock at night, and I apologize because today was just a crazy day and I am so tired and my feet hurt so bad. It's not even funny. So let me just kind of quickly go through the day. We had a pretty basic morning. We were working on code of conduct lessons and truth lessons that we have to do every single year. And then after lunch and recess, we did the homeroom rotation. So I did the Saving Fred activity with all 4 fourth grade classes. Absolutely loved seeing the students like trying to figure figure it out. And of course I gave them little hints as they needed it. And it was just a really good way to kind of see how kids interact with each other and their teamwork and their perseverance and all that. I just love that activity, and the students always love it too. And it was a great way to kind of introduce myself to the different students. So after that, we switched back to our homerooms, had dismissal time. It was like 4 o'clock. I was trying to put together that poster with the puzzle pieces, which was one of the rotations today, because we wanted to have something to display at back to school night. While I was working on that, we actually had to evacuate the building. I guess they smelled something, almost like a gas leak or something, so we had to evacuate, wait for the fire department to come and clear the building. It was ridiculously hot outside, so I am so sweaty, it's not even funny, because our building is also hot. Then I had to come in, quickly try to finish up the poster, quickly try to grab a bite to eat, get stuff ready for back to school night, and then back to school night was 6 o'clock, and it was supposed to go to 9, but we were done by 8. So hallelujah, I am ready to get out of here. I do have to say, I feel like back to school night went really well. I loved getting to talk to the families and meet some of the parents that I hadn't met and just give them information, and hopefully they could tell how excited I was. Like, that's definitely what I want to communicate with my parents and their families. So, hold on. Here's an announcement.
Good evening, Crofton family. Back to school night has now ended. With all teachers remaining in the building, please come to the front at this time.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up because I've got to get out of here. I was gonna show you the back to school night presentation. What I will do is I will film that at home and show you quickly what I had for the presentation. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here because I'm being told that I have to get out of here, and I will catch up with you all tomorrow, and I will probably be exhausted. I'm calling it now. As promised, I'm gonna show you our slideshow for back to school night. I'm not gonna go into detail for each slide. I'm literally just going to kind of show you like the headings that we use in case you don't really know what kind of information you should share at back to school night or open house, whatever it is that your school calls it. Hopefully this will give you an idea. Now this template is editable and in my TPT store, so I will link it down in the description box. On the next slide, I'm going to skip over it, but it has information about each of the teachers, what subjects we teach, our email addresses, and all that. Then we go over the schedule for a 4th grader. We talk about our reading curriculum, writing curriculum, math curriculum, science curriculum, and social studies curriculum. Then we talk about how we do homework in 4th grade. We talk about grading and our redo policy. Then we talk about assessments that our students take, behavior management, other information, which is like activities, clubs, and field trips. Then we talk about our birthday policy. Then we talk about volunteering and ways that parents can volunteer. Then we talk about our grade website, which we use Shutterfly. And then that's it. So it really is pretty simple. Typically me and whoever else I'm presenting with, because we split it up between 2 different rooms, we just kind of alternate talking about the slides. It takes about a half an hour, and we do 2 rotations so that parents who have multiple children in the school can go to see both of the presentations. So hopefully this was helpful for you. If you are interested in the template, it will be linked down in the description box. It is editable, and you can go to TPT and read the description if you want more information. Good morning, YouTube. I'm not going to sit here and complain about how tired I am, but I will just say that the rest of the school year so far, I've been getting up somewhere between 6 and 6:30. And this morning I got up at 7. So hopefully that kind of gives you a clue. I am headed to school, but the good news is last year, Thursday was our like no cultural arts day. So we had our students all day long. We didn't really have a break, but this year that's on Friday. So I do have cultural arts today, which I need very, very badly. And I think we're gonna introduce our students to Chromebooks today. So I will show you what I am doing with my students on the Chromebooks. So I have some new bins this morning. These are the Sterlite latch bins. I will link them for you in the description box. I use these for my math bins and then now my STEM bins. And I wanted to have a total of 8 STEM bins, so I ordered a 6-pack off of Amazon and finally brought those in. And then these large black bins are from Big Lots. They are the bigger version of the black bins that I keep my math manipulatives in. The reason I had to get these, and you may remember earlier in the week, I mentioned that this year I am just teaching math and science. So my team teacher and I decided that I'm going to teach science, she's going to teach social studies, but I'm going to teach science to the entire 4th grade and she's going to teach social studies to the entire 4th grade. So what that means is I will keep my block classes for a week and teach them science, and then the next week I will still teach my block classes math, but we will switch for science and social studies. So I will teach her block classes science and she will teach my block classes social studies. Hopefully that makes sense. But what that means is at the end of the week we have to swap out their journals and their folders for social studies and science. So I'm going to keep these black bins, I think, like up here. I think I will have enough space if I move my letterboard and the flowers. So on Fridays our students will put their journals into these bins and then her and I can swap them out so that they are ready for Monday morning. So I just went ahead and put the bins there. It looks like they fit perfectly on this little space, and then I still had space for the letterboard and I just put the flowers right behind it. And I forgot to mention this last night because I was so tired, but this is my homeroom turn-in bin. It stays right here on the side of my desk, and then I have a little pencil caddy next to it because I always end up using that. This is where my homeroom students put anything that they have to give me, notes from home, paperwork, money, any of that stuff. So I always joke with them, you know, oh, your papers go in here, money goes in here, if you have coffee for Miss Ferré, that goes in here, and like it's just kind of been a running joke. Well, yesterday one of my students actually brought in coffee and put it in there. I was laughing so hard. I just thought that that was so sweet, and you know, I'm very sarcastic with things, so to see them like actually do it, I just thought that that was adorable. Also, a quick tip for you all. We all know as teachers that during back to school time we get a ton of paperwork and it can be very difficult to keep track of it all. So I actually made up this student checklist last night. Over here I'm just covering up student names, but I put the different paperworks or forms that we have up at the top. So we have an emergency card that is school issued, we have emergency info that we give as 4th grade, a parent survey, the student handbook sign-off page, and then agenda book money. So I've collected all their forms and they're like grouped with binder clips underneath. I'm gonna have my TA go through, she's gonna check off all of the students so I can see who is missing what and make sure that I write it in their agenda so we can get it back as soon as possible. It is now lunchtime. I did not vlog during my planning time because I was busy trying to get stuff done, because that's what your planning time is for, but I have to say I have had a phenomenal day with my students. I think it has been my favorite day with them thus far, because the first day is super hectic because you don't know them at all, but by the 3rd day, like, you know them, you're starting to get to know their personalities. My students have been working super hard. They did great with their morning work. I went around and gave them each a cup kudo, which is our school-wide incentive system, and then they went to cultural arts, came back. We did this activity that we do with them every year. It's called If I Were in Charge of the World. So there's this poem called If I Were in Charge of the World, and they read the poem and then they rewrite it using their own ideas. So they talk about things that they would cancel, like things that they don't like and things that they wish that there was more of in the world, and they did a great job working on that. It was like dead quiet in the room. I had the lights off, I was playing strings music. It was just fantastic. And then after that, I read aloud the book The Invisible Boy. If you have never read it, highly recommend it for pretty much any grade level for the first week of school. I will link it in the description box. It's basically all about including those students that are often left out and often feel invisible, and it's just amazing because as a teacher, you're not just here to teach them math, science, social studies, language arts, all that. You're here to teach them just those things that they need to know to be a good person. And for me, that's really, really important. And I love to work those activities in whenever I can. And the discussion that we had as a class was just amazing. And then I showed them this video that I actually stumbled across on Facebook last night. And it was all about like spreading kindness and looking out for those that kind of need their day brightened. And it was a short little video. It was like 2 minutes, but we watched it like 3 or 4 times and we just had such a great discussion, and like my students really just, I felt like they were getting into it, and that's what I love to see. So they are now at lunch, then we have recess, and then this afternoon we will have Chromebooks for about 45 minutes. So I'm going to do a Kahoot with them and I'm going to show you that. So first of all, I had a Google slide that just kind of went over our rules for Chromebooks, and then when they come back from lunch, we're going to do a Kahoot. I will link this website in the description. It is free. You just make an account, and then you can actually use pre-made Kahoots. You can search about them here, or you can create your own. So if I go under Kahoots and My Kahoots, I created one called How Well Do You Know Miss Ferré? So this is all kinds of questions like, what grade do I teach? What subjects do I teach? What's my favorite animal? how many cats do I have, what are their names, just little fun questions to test how well they've been paying attention all week. And I thought that this would be a great way to kind of introduce them to Kahoot, because I use this for math, I use it for science. There's so many different possibilities for this game. Basically, when you go to play, it will put this code up on the board. I play Classic because my students each have Chromebooks. It will put this code up on the board and the students all type that in on their computer, and then they are connected to play. So I'm gonna go ahead and exit out of this because it does have music in the background, but once they are connected to play, the question will show up on my screen and then they answer on their screen, and it keeps track of all of their points, and it's very like competitive and fun, and the students always really love it. So if you have never used this, I highly recommend you check it out. I did want to talk quickly about the lights around my board. In one of my classroom setup vlogs, I showed you how I attached these with little pieces of Velcro. So the Velcro is holding really well on the sides, but down at the bottom, this piece is okay because it's pretty small and light, but over here, because I had this dangling piece, it was kind of heavy and it kept falling down, and I kept trying to add more Velcro, but it was not holding. So this is my little fix for right now. It's probably not the best thing in the world, but it is working. I did this yesterday afternoon and it's still holding strong for today. This is just a very large binder clip, and I clipped it right onto the smartboard, and it's just holding that part of the cord up, so then it automatically holds up the rest of it. So those of you who are trying to put lights around their board, I had a couple people reach out to me saying that Velcro wasn't working. For me, it worked around the sides. It was just the bottom that was too heavy, and then I am just holding it with a large binder clip. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but I'm kind of losing my voice just a little bit because we do so much talking the first week of school. So honestly, I'm very much ready for it to be next week when I'm in a regular schedule and I'm not talking as much. Tomorrow, our students will find out their block schedules, and we're gonna do a mini block switch in the afternoon just for about an hour each. So I do need to kind of work on tonight, like what exactly I'm gonna do with my blocks. I have a couple of ideas in my head, but I will let you know what I end up doing. I am gonna go ahead and get out of here because it's about 5:30. I still need to go to the gym, go home, eat dinner, shower, work on some stuff, and then go to bed. And I'm very tired. My body feels like it's been hit by a truck, which is interesting because I'm a pretty athletic person. Like, I work out 6 days a week. I've run 5 marathons, but nothing compares to the first week of school exhaustion. Good morning, YouTube. It is Friday. I have my Friday shirt on. This is from Miss McNamara's class, so I will link it for you in the description box. I'm very tired. However, I'm getting myself coffee this morning, and I have not had any coffee yet this school year. Like, even the week when I was setting up my classroom, none whatsoever. And I honestly think that that is the longest in like 2 years that I've gone without coffee. So I'm gonna treat myself this morning because A, I deserve it, and B, I'm gonna have my block classes for the first time this afternoon. Oh, there goes a car. And I wanna make sure, I get so distracted, y'all. I want to make sure that I am like pumped and energetic for them because I love to set that mood and tone for the first day. So I'm gonna go grab me some energy, aka coffee, and then I will catch up with you all at school. Good morning. Can I get a medium iced vanilla latte, please? So I got my typical iced vanilla latte this morning, and I will say that with my class, I've been having really good discussions about paying it forward and random acts of kindness. We watched a video yesterday about it, and then some of my students, like, it was this sticky note that got spread around to all these different people, and then by the end of the day, I saw some of my students making their own sticky notes that they were gonna pass around, and I just thought that that was amazing. So in spirit of them this morning and how into it they have been, I did go ahead and pay for the person behind me, and I kept the receipt, and I'm thinking about having a spot in my room where I display all of the receipts of like people that I've paid for throughout the year, because again, it all comes down to that word impact. I want to be able to display for my students, like, look, I was able to do this, I have impacted this many people, and then who knows how many of those people then pay for the person behind them, and it just spreads and spreads and spreads from there. I did want to go ahead and show you my Google Slides for today, and then I will show you what I am doing with my block classes for the first day. So this is just the slide that is on the board when they come in the morning. I'm using my Bitmoji a lot. Then typically on Fridays, we don't have cultural arts, so like I don't have planning time. So some of our students go to chorus, and then whichever students are left, we have a study hall. So I'm going to explain that to them. Now today, because chorus has not started, we're gonna do a ketchup and pickles. So I'm gonna explain to them what ketchup and pickles is. Students have to first catch up on any work that is not finished, and then if they are caught up, then they pick an activity from the list to do. So I actually have this slide. It's in my TPT store. If you're interested, it's a freebie, so I will link it down in the description. You can either put student names and tell them specifically what they have to do, or in this case, I'm just putting down, like, here's the things you need to be caught up on. You have to finish your, if I were in charge of the world poem that we did yesterday, you need to make sure all of your notebooks and folders are labeled, and then make sure that you have a name tent, because they're going to carry that with them to their block classes. And then I'm still working on some different activities that they can do if they are done. After ketchup and pickles, I want to go ahead and do like a good kind of get to know you game. I personally love games that don't require any prep. So this is one that I really like. It's just called Switch Sides If. So basically I will have like maybe all my boys stand on one side, all my girls stand on the other to start, and then I will make different statements such as switch sides if you like pizza, and then they will switch sides if that applies to them, and it's just a good way to see what we all have in common. Then I'm going to read aloud the book The Day You Begin. I think this is a newer book, so I will link it down in the description box. And then we will do another kind of get to know you activity, but this is really more like teamwork. So it's called Blobs and Lines. So I'm going to ask them to either line up in a particular order, such as from oldest to youngest, or by the number of siblings that you have. Or I will ask them to get into a blob, which is basically just a group of people that have something in common, such as the same eye color or the same hair color. But the trick is there is no talking. So they have to find other ways to communicate the information without talking to one another. And that's always a lot of fun to watch. Then I'm going to go ahead and give them their schedule. So this tells them who their block teachers are. And then they also get a letter that goes home. Then we're going to talk about what they should be carrying when they are switching classes. And then starts our blocks in the afternoon. So I will have this slide up when they come in. My block 1 student names will be written on a pink sticky note. My block 2 student names will be written on a blue sticky note. And then I always let my homeroom students know that they could be at a different seat. And then this is where I start to introduce myself. Now, because we switched Wednesday we did like a little mini switch so that we could meet all of the students, so they all kind of know who I am, but I'm going to go through and just give them some more information. So I always tell them, welcome to my class. I teach math and science. And then I always tell them that I'm awesome because it's true, and they better believe it. And I say, no, really, it's actually true. And then this is probably really corny, but I put this up there on my slide. It just kind of flashes a couple of times. And then I give them some facts about myself. So I always tell them I love teaching. It's my favorite thing to do. I love math. I'm hilarious. Also true. I love running and lifting weights. I love the Redskins. And then I have 2 cats, and I always like to show them this picture because they think that it's hilarious. And then I start to tell them about my pet peeves. So number 1, rocking back in your seat. I don't mind if students are sitting like, you know, on their knees on their seat, or even like standing or kind of squirming in their seat, but I don't like when they rock back because then it becomes a safety issue, and I have seen kids fall, and I always tell them that. Also calling out because it's just rude and ain't nobody got time for that. And then being unkind to your classmates, #WeAreFamily. So then I always tell my students what they can expect from me as their teacher. So I say I will always be happy that they are here. I will put forth 100% effort. I will do my best to help them learn. I will be here for them if they need me, and I will believe in them. And then in return, I tell them what I expect from them. So they will have a positive attitude. They will put forth 100% effort. They will be respectful. They will make good choices, and they will believe in themselves. And then I always show them this GIF, and I always say, who feels this way about math? And I always tell them that by the end of the year, my goal is to have them feeling like this. Then I'm doing this little activity. I've never done this before, so I'm hoping that it goes well. I'm gonna ask who has ever hurt their elbow, and I'm gonna have someone tell a quick story about when they hurt their elbow, and I'm going to give them a Band-Aid, and I'm gonna put it on their elbow. Then I'm going to say, who else has been hurt before? It doesn't have to be your elbow. It can be your knee, it can be your head, you know, wherever. So they'll tell me a quick little story. And the second person, I'm still gonna put the Band-Aid on their elbow. And then I'm gonna ask again, who else has been hurt somewhere else? They'll tell me the story. Again, I'm gonna put the Band-Aid on their elbow. And finally, they're gonna get to the point where they're like, okay, Miss Ferré, why are you putting it on our elbow? Like, I told you that I hurt my knee. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about what fair is. And I'm gonna tell them fair isn't everyone getting the same thing. Fair is everyone getting what they need in order to be successful. And I always like to show them this picture. It's about equity. And just, sorry about that. And just showing students how not but everyone is always going to be doing the same activity in class. We will be doing different things depending on what we need. Then I'm going to go through some different parts of the classroom they need to know. So where the trash cans and tissues are, dry erase boards, water bottle parking lot, turn-in bins, math manipulatives, science and social studies notebooks, pencil sharpener, and our flexible seating choices. Then I go ahead and give them their purple math book. They take these home and I tell them I do not ever want to see it again, ever again, seriously, or else. And then they go ahead and label it with a Sharpie, and they're going to take it home and leave it at home. And when they have to bring the pages back, they just rip them out carefully. And then my homeroom class will come back for dinner time, and then we will have dismissal. So you may remember I had this out on student desk for the second day of school as their morning work. So it just kind of asked them like, what's the biggest difference between this year and last year? 3 goals, 3 questions. And then down here it said, use the space to write the names of as many classmates as you can. So I've already kind of gone through it. I've read their goals and I answered some of their questions in front of the class. But the real reason I wanted to give them this paper is number 4, where they had to write the names of their classmates. I'm now going to go through and I'm not looking at, you know, whose name was mentioned. I'm looking at whose name was left off. Which classmates do most students not know the name of? Because then I know that those are students that I need to make sure are being welcomed into our classroom community and that everyone knows who they are. Especially we have a lot of new students this year. So I like to do this just to really kind of see like who's being forgotten, because sometimes, you know, we make a lot of observations as a teacher, but we don't always know for sure. So this could be a little activity that you could even do, just giving students a sticky note, having them write down as many names as they can think of the first week, and then seeing which students were not mentioned on anyone's list. So my lights are off because it is very hot today and I'm trying to keep my room as cool as possible. The morning has been very long because we did not have planning time. It was just a very long time in homerooms, but my students really love the ketchup and pickles time, and I have to tell you what, I let them use like the STEM bins for the first time, and I let them use that new Blocks Rock game that I told you about in one of my classroom setup vlogs. My kids, I kid you not, loved it. Like I had the biggest group all trying to play and they were so into it. So I highly recommend you try out that game because truly it is something that students love doing and it is just fantastic. So I will link that game again. You can actually get it from Amazon, so you can save a little bit on shipping, and it's a little bit cheaper on Amazon than the actual Blocks Rock website. There we go. It is now my lunchtime, but I feel like I'm not even going to be able to really enjoy my lunch because it's been a little bit hectic. We have like our students placed into different block classes. So yesterday I went through and I had to write out like who has what block teachers, and we had to have a schedule for them. Plus we have a letter that goes home, and just this morning they were moving kids around because our class sizes are so big. They're trying to keep them as even as possible. So I had several students that I had to like move it around, and it's just been a little bit hectic, like trying to make sure that every kid has the correct schedule, has the correct letter to go home, and I have the correct rosters and all that. I'm just gonna like snack on some things, like some pretzels. I'm not gonna eat a full lunch. I'm gonna try to make sure it's all straight. But before I know it, it will be the end of the day and it's all good. I am gonna try to finish my coffee so that I have plenty of energy for my block classes this afternoon. So our PTA always gives us this like favorite survey that we fill out every year, and then they coordinate and they post them online so that all of the parents can see. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on getting this filled out before the end of the day. So I have made it through my first week of school. It is currently 6 o'clock on the nose, and let me just say, exhausted does not even begin to cover it. I am so tired. I mean, I'm happy and I've had a good week, don't get me wrong, but I am just so tired and I need sleep and rest and rejuvenation this weekend. But I will say I really enjoyed having my block classes this afternoon. I tried to be as energetic as possible, and to me, with my block classes, like the first day that I have them, that's all that it's about. I don't start content. I literally try to learn their names as much as possible. I go over a little bit of rules and procedures, and ultimately I just want them to leave my class and go, wow, I'm really excited. You know, I'm so glad that I have Miss Ferré and I can't wait for her block, and that's what I want. I want to get my students excited and enthusiastic from the very first day, and I feel like I did that. Next week we are going to start jumping into curriculum. I was just with my team teacher who teaches math and social studies this year, and we were trying to map out next week for math. So I've got a lot to get done this weekend because ideally I like to start working on plans for the following week during the week before, if that makes sense. But this week I just couldn't because I've been so tired and overwhelmed. So I do have a lot to do this weekend, but it's okay because this is what I love to do, and I'm already just thinking about my kids and what I can do to help them and what they need and how I can give it to them. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this vlog because I need to get out of here and go get some rest. If you enjoyed it, please, please, please give it a thumbs up. Also go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so that you will get notified every time I post a new video. Oh my goodness, y'all, I need some sleep. All right, thank you so much. I love you all so much. Don't forget to think positive, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of this video and for supporting my YouTube channel. If you want to check out any of my older videos, you can use the 2 links right down here. If you want to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any future videos, you can use the link right up here. The links to all of my social media sites, my Teachers Pay Teacher store, my merchandise store, and my Amazon store are in the description box, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.